And welcome to our conference this week. I want to extend a welcome to some new students. This past week I've been in Sedona with Dear Jack Foundation, and met some really wonderful people, some cancer survivors, and so they're now officially part of our extended family here at the Shala. So welcome, all of you. We are studying this week. What are we studying this week? Quiz time. See, I do this every year, and I look forward to this every year. Yes, it's the Chinese New Year. So the Chinese New Year, I believe, on the 16th?
Yes.
And we are going to prepare for the Chinese New Year as we annually do with clearing clutter and getting some energy flowing in our bodies and in our life. So it's a little tradition we have. I know, I love this too. I think I kind of do this naturally anyway, like this time of the year you start wanting to like clear things out, and it feels like nesting or something. It's so natural. But I like to inspire you to go that extra and make this part of your tradition to prepare yourself for the new year. So I have you read a book every year called Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen Kingston. And you can loan it to your friends, because trust me, how many of you have never read this before? If you've never read this before, you're going to read it and be like, I want to give this to this person, I want to give it to this person. And but make sure you don't give them your copy, because we will look at it every year. And it's fun to refresh, because Karen literally goes from the bagua of your home to the bagua of your colon and everything in between. So I want to encourage you to get this book and to start reading it, because I'll talk about this throughout conference today, but it'll definitely inspire you to find like where you need to get some more energy flowing in your life, where there's clutter, where there's blockages, and it'll bring new energy into your life, new things into your life. She has a lot of great little stories in here of people that have worked with her over the years and what changes have happened because of their clearing. I also recommend this time of year Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Meese, which is also one of my all-time favorites. And this has to do with your physical body and your energy body and clearing that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. It's an excellent book. Again, good time of the year to sort of see where there's blockages. And then lastly, we've added one book to it, and Melanie reminded me of the name of it.
The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
It's a long title. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. It is on our homepage website. This author, we'll talk about this at the end, but really takes Karen's to a very specific, really only surrounding ourselves with what we love. And so that winds up being a lot about the things that we keep in our life and the reasons why we keep those things. So starting this conference, we always start with our yoga practice, and what we're doing here is an energy practice. Just working with new students, I always say, primarily I'm a breath teacher, I'm an energy teacher. Ashtanga is a pranic practice, it's an energy practice. So what all of you understand is that one of the main things we're trying to do when we do our Ashtanga practice is to get prana moving throughout our body, through the vayus, through the different sections of the body, and through the nadis. What are nadis? N-A-D-I-S. The nadis are actually the channels that we have in our body, 72,000 of these, where the energy is going to run through, and that's what makes us feel healthy. That's what makes us feel alive and vibrant. And then when we have a blockage in that nadi, in that channel of energy, the Chinese would call those meridians, we call them nadis. What would you call that? Kind of sounds like what it is, grantis. So the grantis are the blockages, and so we are in yoga trying to either, we're trying to do practice so we don't get blockages, or if we have them, we're trying to move through those blockages. So a lot of the things we do in this practice have to do with breath and movement, and you notice that breath and movement really, it really facilitates that we move energy once you start. I was telling the students this weekend, it's like our avatar, our physical body is designed for movement. And when we're not moving, when we're sitting at our desk for 6 hours, driving in our car for 4 hours, we become unhealthy. because there are a lot of reasons that we become unhealthy, but one of them is that we're not moving that energy that we were designed to. So it's beautiful for us to have a practice where we're specifically doing breath synchronized with movement. And then we have asana, which I would say is our form, right? And so depending how much attention you pay to having good form will determine how much prana you can bring into your body. So if I'm doing Janu Sirsasana with a rounded back and my head dropped, I'm probably not able to get a lot of pranic flow into my spine, into my chest, and even into the core of my being. But if I kind of back out of that and lift from the core and breathe into it, looking at my foot and in full extension, you can just see that I'm going to get more pranic movement in pranavayu, which is in my heart region, in udanavayu, my spine, into my digestion, and all that works better when we're getting breath and opening and some movement in there. So the first thing we're going to look at with the Chinese New Year is our bodies. You know, where in your body might there be blockages? If we look at some older traditions like Ayurvedic medicine or Chinese medicine, they have different ways of helping people move prana with needles and herbs and different things like that. And in our tradition, our method, we use breath and movement. And that is how we stay healthy. And then we move out of, this is the funnest part of this year. So as yogis, we know that. Like I know when I've got an injury or I've got a grunty or something feels stuck in my back. But now if we understand prana works in my container, I'll call my avatar my container, then I understand that prana works everywhere. Prana is everywhere. So this box we call the Shala has prana. It has energy. When you walk in, you feel it, right? And it's from all the energy that each of you bring to this space that has this very specific energy when you walk in. And it has to do with things I've put in here, right? It has to do with keeping it open. It has to do with candles that are lit. And it has to do with all your energy that shows up, creates an energy that we can feel. But everything in our life has that. So you go out into your box with wheels, you know, and that has energy. And you notice that, you know, like your box with wheels, when you just ignore it for a while and it's just like garbage from a couple days that's here and there, and you left some books and they've been in there for a month, and it starts to feel like junky energy in there, you know. And even your car, like you feel better when it's clean and when it's open, and you feel like, you know, it changes the energy while you're in there. And then if we move out into like the bagua of our house and different areas of your house or your office. So this is the time of the year when I want you to look at all those different places where you show up with energy and there's an exchange of energy for you. Office, homes, even your backyards, your garages, all of that is places where we have an exchange of energy that's important to us. As well as when we move that past and say relationships have energy. So I have energy, Duane and I, you know, and we have energy between us that I can feel and I know. And if there's something wrong, if he's mad at me because I did something wrong in the yoga practice that offended him, which probably would never happen, but we'll just pretend. But there's an energy, there's something that you can feel in that when there's something in the energy. You know, a good example would be, you know, relationships. When you have a long-term relationship, a spouse or something, and you know, there's different aspects of like the energy between you. And sometimes just when the energy is low, like this time of year, look at that. You know, where in your marriage is the energy kind of low, and where could you actually elevate that, and how could you elevate that? What cleaning up could you do in a relationship to get more energy into it and to raise that vibration a little bit? So I guarantee you, if you start reading Karen's book, for me, every year, like there's something special. Each year is different for me, and I never like plot it out too much, like this year it's going to be, you know. Although you might just know, like this year it's the garage. It's like things I've kept for years that clutter up and feel important to me that really aren't, and you know. But just kind of look around your life or start reading this, and something's going to show up you're going to want to clean a lot. Trust me, when you start reading this, you're going to be looking for colon capsules and looking at your relationships and like, how is this? But something will speak to you that's special this year, you know, that feels like this is my Chinese New Year thing that's important to me. I want to put a little extra time and love into. And then I do highly recommend reading the third book that we added, because she does a good job at talking about looking at things in our life as in a relationship to how much we love them or how much we actually don't love them. And it really goes in alignment with the teachings we've had this semester with what we're passionate about and putting some energy into creating adventures about what we love and what we're passionate about. So kind of look in your life where, where there are things that you really realize you don't love, and then we have to ask ourselves, why do we keep them? And coming back to Karen, she does a great job with a little psychology of it. And here we look at why you keep that jacket that you never wear, because it's going to look good on you again someday, or because it was really expensive. And lastly, I really want to add to the teachings with this is, if you've all done the clutter clearing, and I know you've all done this on a physical level and on an emotional level, and what you realize is that it's so liberating. It literally makes you feel joyful and happy and lighter when you're able to let go of things that for some reason we hold on to. It's heavy for us to have so many things, or to hold on to things that we really don't love. We don't realize the energy that takes. When you think about picking up a bunch of things that are heavy and holding them, what kind of energy that requires to just give it and say, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that next week, about yogis and about what that means to us to hold on to things and how it's part of our practice actually to let go of them. But for this week, I just want you to really enjoy the books that we have that are in your library, and start going through them and just having fun this week, going through your life and going, that drawer's going to get clean this week, That car is going to go to the car wash after I take everything out of it, Actually enjoy that. And I want you to, as yogis, just to be observant of, once you do something as small as cleaning out a drawer or washing your car, just be observant of your energy and how you feel. And Karen's book, she'll let you know, like, when you have a blockage, it literally stops things from moving from the flow of energy, and it stops things from moving into our life. So sometimes when we clean things up and let go of things, it allows new things to move into our life. So there's some sort of excitement around that too. I don't have the quote in front of me, so I'm just going to say namaste.